Hey, this is Sky. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Let's talk about tribalism, the tribal mind. I think when a lot of people hear that term, tribalism or tribal, they think negatively. You think of some savage wearing a loincloth and a spear and a shield, right? Living in Africa or South America or something like that, right? That's what you think of when you think of tribal. And that's not me. I live in a city. I drive a Prius. Well, I don't, maybe you do. But you know what I mean? This is what people think. How could you be part of a tribe if you're some city worker, cubicle guy, briefcase person, But we do have tribes in Western civilization, but they're the types of groups that people divide off into are, there's so many of them. There's so many different kinds. You have your political tribes, your social tribes. You have gangs. Those are very much like real tribes. But it just goes on, and many people will belong to more than one tribe. They may have a kind of a group that they belong to at work. The workers versus the bosses, That kind of tribalism has been going on for generations. The elitists versus the working class. Your tribe can be your neighborhood, your family, right? I think we know what tribalism is, and I don't really think there's anything wrong with it in some ways. I can kind of go around in circles with this. I don't really think there's that it's a bad thing to be a part of a tribe. But then when in psychology and intellectuals talk about the tribal mindset, the tribal mind, you're caught in tribalism. They throw this kind of term around, and they mean negative connotations when they say that shit to you. They're not complimenting you. So I wanted to go over 1, 2, 3, 4 things that were signs of the tribal mind, so we can recognize when we're falling into the negative space, the areas of tribalism which may be harmful, right? I don't think there's anything wrong with us belonging to groups and for you to think that your group is great. I don't think anything wrong with that. Have pride. I think having pride in your group is fine. You can have pride in your race. That's great. But when it starts to hurt other people, when you start to feel like you're at war, you have to start to look within. So this is 4 ways to do this. The first aspect of the tribal mind is dogmatism. When you run into somebody who's really lost in the tribal mindset, they're dogmatic. They're pushing their beliefs, their opinions as fact. And we've all met people like that. They're very matter-of-fact people and plant their flag on like as if this is the way life is. When it's really just what you think. We all have our own little perception. And it's hard for me at least, to make statements that are like these God statements where you just kind of make these decrees. This is the way it is. I have spoken. People do this. And they think they're speaking truths, but it's just your stupid fucking opinion. Dogmatism is pretty easy to spot, and we can navigate that minefield pretty easily when others are trying to trick us, manipulate us, spit bullshit to us. We can easily put on our inner cynic and be like, that sounds like bullshit to me, dude. But when we do it, when we get all self-righteous, that's the problem. So you got to watch out for that shit. Watch being too self-righteous and making these statements of fact. Give yourself an out. Say, well, in my opinion, or according to my research, give yourself a a little way out so you don't just sound like you're making these decrees. You're Moses planting the commandments. A lot of people talk in these ways, especially guys who want to act like they're smart. The second one, which are signs of a tribal mind, is groupthink. And that one's a little bit more obvious. Groupthink is what we'd expect with tribalism. That you guys are all little clones, thinking alike, not really thinking about anything, just latching onto ideology, latching onto politics, latching on to the latest reaction. Groupthink is where we get our sheep from. People who don't think as individuals. They're just eating up the news that you feed them, like pigs eating garbage. They're just like, oh, nom, 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 I'll take it. Yep. They eat whatever you throw in front of them, even your fingers. They groupthink. I mean, it's marketing, it's manipulation. The corporations have figured out groupthink and are leading people along like the Pied Piper for profits. The media has figured out groupthink and are again leading people like sheep, like herds of sheep. The politicians have figured out groupthink. And they're not at your door with whips and chains, with guns pointed at you to force you to think in a certain way. This is all done as manipulation, as ways to sell you different products and ideas. And you have to be a real picky consumer. Do a lot of research. Let's go to the next one. These are signs of a tribal mind. So when you recognize these signs within yourself, you need to start figuring out how to change yourself. This is self-mastery. This is what warriors do. The warriors don't fall victim to the tribal mind. A lot of warriors are solitary. They're not sheep. They're not dogmatic. They're not involved in groupthink. And the third one is a Crusader mentality. People who have a Crusader mentality are lost in a tribal mindset. These are people that are going around trying to get everybody to believe what they believe in. Shouldn't be so focused on what other people think. I get really tired of activists. These people these days, it's like a moral high ground to be an activist, to be a little crusader, a little superhero, a little do-gooder. A lot of these people have horribly dysfunctional lives. And I could paint you some pretty bleak pictures of who some of these people are. And it's just, someone like me sees this and it's just like the nerve of you. Go around trying to tell motherfuckers what to think, what to do. Go make your own bed. Stop worrying about mine. What was that line in the Bible? Jesus talks about, don't worry about the speck in your neighbor's eye. Worry about the log that's in yours. Let's go to the next one. These are signs of a tribal mind. The last one is anti-intellectualism. So if you're becoming increasingly anti-intellectual, like a lot of people are these days, you may be lost in tribalism, in a bad part of tribalism, in a part of tribalism that holds you back. Because you remember, I don't think that it's a bad thing to be a part of a group. But if that group makes you dogmatic, if that group is forcing you to be a sheep and you're stuck in groupthink, if you've turned into a little shithead crusader trying to convince everybody about your dumbass fucking beliefs, and if you've also turned against intellectualism, you think intellectualism, intellectual pursuits are stupid, right? I mean, this is some Orwellian shit. And there's a movement like this. People don't read. They don't want to go to school. They don't want to learn. They don't want to be smart people. They want to be stupid, uneducated, backwards. Because they're afraid. And maybe there's an opinion out there, which I've heard particularly amongst my conservative friends, who think, and maybe they're right, that liberals, particularly a certain brand of extremist, far-left liberal, have taken over the education system, have taken over science, have taken over intellectualism. Anytime you get two intellectuals in a room, they're going to be two shithead liberals talking about communism and socialism, right? I mean, this is the opinion that a lot of Americans have, and it's a shame. Because all it is just fear. You can't let intellectualism turn tribal, where people divide off into little camps with their little confirmation bias running to validate what they say as truth, and then we can just have our own truth. I have my truth and you have yours, right? It's such a fucking stupid way to go into the future. There is a truth, and we all need to accept it. Like there's a sun. You can't have your own sun, and I got mine. There's one sun, and we need to be able to accept that that's what the sun is. There is one truth. And we need to all embrace it. There's a reality that we live in, and we all need to be in the same reality. We can't just divide off and isolate off. And what we're going to all live in the metaverse, like Zuckerberg wants us to do. We're headed for civil war. You may have to choose your side. We're all lost in some tribe, seems like. We're all part of a tribe. These are just 4 ways that you can keep yourself in check. Thanks for watching.